We back once again with the Boxing Clinic and more. Talking about two quarterbacks. We switching over to the NFL real quick. We're going to touch bases throughout the week on some more NFL talk. But two quarterbacks that's in a lose-lose situation. Kind of different, but I asked, is it time to trade Andrew Luck and Drew Brees? And we're going to talk about some potential landing spots. Now, start off with Drew Brees because he's the veteran and surefire Hall of Famer. Texas native, Purdue's finest. You know, I remember we won the Rose Bowl back in the day. I was a huge Drew Brees fan. You know, the Big Ten representing. Big Michigan fan here, but had to had to admire what Drew Brees was doing with a university that didn't have a lot of, historical or big lineage of football from, in recent memory that I can remember. But he did what he did in New Orleans. It's clear that New Orleans, defensively, it ain't gonna happen. They didn't have different coordinators in, and from the Rob Ryan to whoever the hell they got now, it ain't working. They signed Jarius Byrd. They had Cam. They had the Cam of the young guy up front, the young defensive lineman, but it's just not working for them. And offensively, it's stale. I remember Joe Lombardi. I'm a Lions fan with Detroit. And our offense just didn't work in the league. The league had adjusted to Sean Payton's offense. And like Joe Lombardi, Sean Payton hasn't been able to make the adjustment to his offense, which is sometimes clear as day, but sometimes a genius like Sean Payton overlooks things. And his offense could be more simpler by just handing the ball off some more. He has three good running backs. Alvin Kamara out of Tennessee, I think his name is, Adrian Peterson, and Mark Ingram. And when they give Mark Ingram a chance to actually get into a rhythm and run the ball, he does great, And they don't do that. They hand every running back get 3 or 4 carries and a couple touches, receiving. And they want to just throw the ball around all day. They don't want to run the ball and, clock management. They don't want to do that. And I say to him, if he's not going to adjust, it's time to let Drew Brees go. And we talk about some landing spots. We talk about Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck, they wasted his prime. They destroying him. They drafting Harbaugh over there. Whoever is in there, they drafting Harbaugh. They did draft Malik Hooker, who had a big interception this weekend, came back from injury. I think he was a big time. But, with Chuck Pagano being a defensive coach, it ain't working. Only success he really had there was when Bruce Arians was the coach. Andrew Luck covered up a lot of deficiencies like Peyton Manning did. But the difference is, Peyton Manning wasn't a mobile quarterback. Peyton Manning knew when to, get down. If Peyton Manning knew he was about to get sacked, he'd just eat that. Andrew Luck wants to truck through guys and prove that he's tough and, try to put the team on his back. They ain't gave him a running game, and they gave him a whole bunch of deep threats, and they want him to do 5-7-step drops and chuck the ball downfield. And when you do that, you got to have an offensive line. You got to have a threat of a run game. He ain't had neither one of them. And they ain't gave him no defense neither. So, they destroyed him. Not protecting him, doing 5-7 drops, not doing 3-step drops, maybe a 2-step quick slant. They ain't doing none of that. They want to continue to throw the ball downfield and destroy this guy's career. They have Philip Dorsett, T.Y. Hilton, guys that get down the field like Dante Moncrief as well. And I think they need to destroy that organization up and down. This ain't Peyton Manning. Even Peyton Manning knew he had to hand the ball off every once in a while and give it to Edgerrin James. They haven't gave him a running back close to Edgerrin James, not even a Joseph Adai. Frank Gore is at the end of his career. I love the inconvenient truth, surefire Hall of Famer, but this ain't for him right here. This team, it ain't for him. At this point in his career, they need a young running back. They need to rebuild up front, and they refuse to rebuild up front. Their front seven is lackluster as well. Their secondary is lackluster as well. Even though they got Vontae Davis and Malik Hooker, I still look at it as lackluster. And because you got the second corner, the other safety, and the nickel corner. And now with them going 5 wides, you got to have 2 other good cover corners. Linebackers, I don't know who they are. So at the end of the day, I'm most definitely with both of these guys being traded for the best for their career. And I think a great landing spot for Andrew Luck and for the contract to work out for him is maybe the Colts can trade for Kirk Cousins. I know it's mid-season. I know it's probably going to take a couple weeks to see if the Redskins and, Kirk Cousins get it together. They seem to start and to pick it up with the Rams, who has an excellent defense. But I don't think the Redskins are sold on Kirk Cousins. I don't know what would be the penalty and all that. I haven't did that math, but Kirk Cousins for Andrew Luck would be a good trade. Probably a little bit more thrown in there by the Redskins, which I don't think they have a problem doing. Also, Atlanta spot, Jacksonville for Andrew Luck. Houston, they can get Deshaun Watson back in some picks or let Deshaun Watson sit. Jacksonville, I said them. I think those are the good landing spots. Cincinnati could be another landing spot for Andrew Luck as well. Just by looking at Andy Dalton's contract is easy to get from under, and for Drew Brees, maybe Arizona for Drew Brees. They looking for a quarterback. They convinced Carson Palmer to pay the second role or retire. Bring in Drew Brees, give him some mid-round draft picks and maybe a player or two. They have the players to give up to the Saints, but it's just time for the Saints to move on from. It's time for Drew Brees and Andrew Luck to move on from their respective teams. Let me say that. Possibly Cincinnati for Andrew Luck as well. Chicago has a great defense, but I don't think they're ready to make that next step with their receiving core being injured. So I really marked them out. The Minnesota Vikings for Drew Brees is another spot. Dalvin Cook and McKinney will do good in that defense, and those receivers with Stephon Diggs and Adam Delani, whatever his name is, will be great for Drew Brees, and he stays in the NFC and will make them an instant contender. I think he's smart enough to pick up on the offense. And I understand that Andrew Luck is hurt right now, but I think it's worth it. I don't think the Redskins are going anywhere. I think the Houston, they not going anywhere without a quarterback. I think Tom Savage and Deshaun Watson, it ain't gonna happen this year. It's not gonna click for them. But at least the Colts can get a young quarterback back and maybe some picks back and build their team around them. But like I said, both of these teams are not going anywhere. I would love to see both of these guys move and able to go on with their career and do bigger and better things. But let me know what y'all think. We gone.